Okay, good morning students. Am I audible? I repeat, am I audible? Okay, good. So, mm, just see. Okay, so today's class is about multiplexing. So, with respect to exams, also it's very important concept. So, pay attention. So, before starting this multiplexing concept, I just want you to recollect an equation. So the equation that defines the maximum data rate in noiseless channel. So can anyone tell me what is the equation for maximum data rate in voiceless channel? Sorry, noiseless channel. We have discussed this in the beginning of this unit. The first class of this unit started with this concept only. So can anyone tell me what is the maximum data rate of any communication channel when the bandwidth is given and the number of levels in the communication signal is given? You can get the maximum data rate. So as said by the 5J8 gave the right answer. So it is 2 into B into log L base 2. Okay, so this equation is going to be playing a very important role in this particular concept, multiplexing. Okay, so here uh, another thing is a physical medium is a pathway, okay, between a sender who is sending something and a receiver who is receiving something. Okay, so whatever is sent by the sender will be inserted into this pathway. Okay, and the information is going to go through this pathway and it is going to reach to the receiver. The receiver is going to obtain the information from the other end of this particular pathway. Now, can we consider this pathway as a road? Okay, a medium is nothing but a road between the sender and receiver. Okay, so this road, if you look at our transportation system, you can see roads in different dimensions. I can say width. If you take your local roads, the local roads will be barely like a 20 feet width. Okay, where you can say it can maximum fit uh, one four-wheeler. It is even difficult to fit two four-wheelers in the narrowest path that you will see in your locality. If you see a bigger roads like a 40 feet roads, let's say 30 feet road, it may fit two four-wheelers. When I say four-wheelers, you can say like buses, lorries, all those things. Okay, so two where it can occupy only one. If you take our highways, there is 4-lane highways or 6-lane highways. In even you can see 8-lane highways where four vehicles can fit side by side in that particular road. So here the width of this road is nothing but in our communication medium. Okay, so the width of road is equivalent to bandwidth of medium. Okay, if more width, more bandwidth. Okay, and the number of vehicles in the road is data rate in transmission medium. So these two things are very important. The maximum data rate is equivalent to number of vehicles, whereas the width of the road is equivalent to bandwidth of the medium. So as long as you have the same width, same data rates, same speed vehicles, you can carry more people or less people depending on, for example, if you have a single bus or a double decker bus. A simple example. So this is one level, this is two level. Okay. So రెండు బస్సెస్ ఒకే స్పీడ్ లో వెళ్తున్నాయి, ఒకే రోడ్ లో వెళ్తున్నాయి, బట్ a single decker bus carries less information, that means nothing but people, compared to the double decker bus which carries more information. So this L represents the number of levels in the communication signal. Okay, so that means the bus is the signal. Now, so is it clear with these particular things? I repeat, is it clear with this, the relation between the bandwidth, data rate and number of levels? Because what I'm going to explain further depends on this particular thing. I repeat, is it clear? Now, so some of you may be coming from a long distance to our college. Let's say some of you are from Tanuku, okay, and the college is in Tadepalligudem. So in between Tanuku and Tadepalligudem, so in between Tanuku and Tadepalligudem, if there is only one small thin road, let's say, you can't even fit more than one vehicle in it. What happens? So at a time, only one person can go through this particular road. All the people can't come through this particular road. Only one vehicle can fit into this road. If that vehicle is very lengthy, let's say it is not just a car or bus, it is something like a train. Just imagine, okay, don't compare with the reality. Okay, just imagine there is a path between Tanuku and Tadepalligudem, and you are taking a long train where the length of the train is infinite. Are you getting what I am saying, guys? So here the distance is not necessary, just consider the width of the road. So let's say the width of the road is 10 feet, your train width is also 10 feet. So your train exactly fits into this particular road, and the length of the train is infinite. That means there is no end to that particular train. So apart from that particular train, can anyone else share that medium? So apart from this particular train, can anyone else share that particular medium? Is it possible? So I can see some response. No. Now imagine you, as a traffic authority, you found out that this particular road plays a very important role because these two are two major towns in the district. So what you did is you increased the road width. Now you placed a 4-lane road, for example. Okay, that means let's say 40 feet road. Okay, your train length is 10 feet. Sorry, width is 10 feet. Length consider infinite. So how many people now can communicate? How many communications can happen in this medium? Guys, when you reply, better reply to everyone so that everyone can see your answers, not just me. So when you increase the width of this particular road, the trains, the number of trains are also increased. Now the number of trains are 4. So previously it is dedicated between, let's say, a person P1 in Tanuku and a person, let's say, P5 in Tadapalagudem. Now 4 communications can happen. Okay. So now P1 can communicate with P5, P2 can communicate with P6, P3 can communicate with P7, P4 can communicate with P8 parallelly, because you are sharing the available road, because you know that the road has more width than your vehicle. Okay, so the road has more width than your vehicle. So this is sharing parallelly, sharing the road parallelly. Now let me tell you one more scenario. Yeah. So Tanuku is there, Tadapalagudem is there. In between, you have only 10 feet road. Now you are not using a train, you are using a bus which is having 10 feet width, but only, let's say, 20 feet length. That means instead of feet, I can say the bus can occupy like only 1/10 of road. Now you can't share the road parallelly, but you can share the road with respect to time. Yes or no? First, P1 will send the vehicle to P2. Okay, once the P1 vehicle moves a little length, then P5, P2 will send the vehicle for P6, then P3 will send the vehicle for P7, then P4 will send the vehicle for P8. Vehicle means nothing but information. So their information will go one after other. Now the road can't accommodate more than one vehicle according to weight, but because of the limited length of the vehicle, you can accommodate more vehicles on the road. This is nothing but sharing the road with respect to time. Yes or no? So is it clear with this? These two things? If you are clear with these two things, my class is going to be very easy for you to understand the actual concepts. So now the same thing is implemented in transmission medium, where when the bandwidth of the communication medium is more, when the bandwidth of the communication medium is more, you are going to share that medium among n people. As you can see here, this is one big road where the road can accommodate n people parallelly, or n people with respect to time, or with respect to some other parameter. So if you can do that, you can preserve, you can use the resources efficiently. So the main concept, the main motto is using the resources efficiently. If there is a highway between, say, two locations, but no person is going through that particular highway, what's the use of that highway? No use, right? So no, the use of that particular road is completely nothing. That means the money is, the whatever money is invested in on that particular road by the government is completely wasted. So in communication, you don't want to waste your resources. So this particular link has more capability than a person can communicate. Okay, so you are going to share this medium. So you are going to share, you are going to divide this link into n number of channels or n number of time slots, Okay, and you are going to accommodate communication between n people on one end to the communication between n people on the other end. So that is nothing but multiplexing. Okay, so the process that is happening on the sender side is called multiplexing, and the divide is called multiplexer, and the process that is happening on the receiving side, the other end of the medium, is called demultiplexing, and the device is called demultiplexer. Okay, so here the bandwidth of this particular communication medium, that is nothing but the data rate that is accommodated by this particular communication medium, is higher than the data rate needed by each and every person. Okay, so what is meant by what I said is, let's say there are n people, okay, who is communicating with 100 kbps speed. Now if your communication medium has n into 100 kbps data rate, the maximum data rate, then you can combine these n people's input together and you can send that data as a single data through this particular medium, so that you are using the medium efficiently. So this is called multiplexing. Okay, so multiplexing is a set of techniques that allows the simultaneous transformation of multiple signals across single data links. That is what I am saying from the beginning. So that is called multiplexing. So in multiplexing, we have three different techniques. So as I said, a set of techniques. So what techniques we are using, depending on that, the multiplexing techniques are divided into three major categories. So one is frequency division multiplexing, the other one is wavelength division multiplexing, and the third one is time division multiplexing. Okay, so the three major multiplexing techniques are frequency division multiplexing, wavelength division multiplexing, but remember these two are almost same, but different in a specific point of view, and time division multiplexing. So these two are like dividing road parallelly. This is like dividing the road with respect to time one by one. Okay, so in a multiplexed system, n lines share the bandwidth of one particular link. Okay, so is it clear with this particular slide? Then I will move to the next slide. So I'm going to discuss each and every multiplexing technique individually. So is it clear? I repeat, is it clear with this particular slide? Okay. So now coming to frequency division multiplexing. So I just said, you can remember this equation. The max data rate is equal to 2b into log L base 2. Imagine this L is constant among all n people who are communicating. Now, every person, let's say, is communicating at 1 Mbps speed. There is n people, let's say 4 people. There are 4 people who are communicating with 1 Mbps speed. So the maximum data rate MDR is equal to 1 Mbps. Okay, L is equal to 2. Can anyone tell me what is B from this particular equation? So 1 Mbps means it is equal to 1 into 10 power 6 bits per second. So L is 2. I gave you the equation. Now can anyone tell me what is B? What is bandwidth? It's very simple one. I can just tell the answer by looking at whatever values I am showing on the screen, there is no need to use pen and paper calculus, etc. Can anyone, at least one person who can tell me the answer for this particular question? Maximum data rate is 1 Mbps, L is 2. What is B in this equation? What? 1000? How you can get 1000? 1 into 10 power 6 is equal to 2 into B into log 2 base 2. So it is equal to 1. Okay, that means nothing but 2B is equal to 10 power 6. B is equal to 10 into 10 power 5 by 2. So equal to 500,000, which is nothing but 500 kilohertz. That's very easy question. So the bandwidth needed for each and every communication, I said 4 people wants to communicate with 1 Mbps. So one person need 500 kilohertz. I told you L equal to 2 only. I have not mentioned L equal to 4. L is 2. So log 2 base 2 is equal to 1. Okay. So 2B equal to 10 power 6. So the answer is 500 kilohertz. Now 4 persons wants to communicate. So your bandwidth of your link must be 4 into 500 kilohertz. That is 2 megahertz. Okay. So 4 persons must share the medium. So medium must have a bandwidth of 2 megahertz. So if you have a bandwidth of 2 megahertz, 2 into 10 power 6 into log 2 base 2. So it is 1, it is 4 Mbps. Are you able to see? So I said 4 Mbps, 4 into 1 Mbps, that is nothing but 4 Mbps. So 4 Mbps kavali ante how much bandwidth the link should be having. So road width ఎంత ఉండాలి? So road width ఎంత ఉండాలి ante the road width must be 2 megahertz, whereas each person is occupying a width of 500 kilohertz. That is the channel width. So let me show you the theoretical part. Right. Okay. So here instead of 4 in this particular diagram, as you can see, 3 persons are communicating. So the medium is going to be divided into 3 channels. Okay. So the medium is going to be divided into 3 channels. So the frequency division multiplexing is an analog technique. Remember this particular point. Frequency division multiplexing is an analog technique that can be applied when the bandwidth of a link is greater than the combined bandwidth of the signals to be transmitted. So this point is important. So as you can see in our previous example, when 4 persons wants to communicate with 1 Mbps speed each, then each channel bandwidth is 500 kilohertz, where when 4 persons wants to communicate, they need a bandwidth of 2 megahertz. Okay, so 2 megahertz at least bandwidth unte, if you this entire link bandwidth is 2 megahertz or more, let's say if the bandwidth is 4 megahertz, then the data rate will be 8 Mbps. So మీకు 4 persons కి accommodate చేయాలి అంటే you need 4 into 1 4 Mbps. So at least 2 megahertz. If you consider the medium, the complete communication medium's bandwidth is only 1 megahertz, then what you are going to get is only 2 Mbps by using the equation 2B log L base 2, as long as L is equal to 2. Okay, if you substitute 1 Mbps here in B, if substitute L equal to 2, what you are going to get is this 2 Mbps. So 2 Mbps bandwidth is not sufficient. So from this, what you can say is the frequency division multiplexing is only possible when the bandwidth of the link, that means this entire link, is greater than the combined bandwidth needed by these people who are communicating with one another. Okay, and so here, to make sure, see, when 4 people are speaking, all those people will speak in the same frequency range. ఓకే, 4 పీపుల్ ఒక చోట నుంచి మాట్లాడేటప్పుడు నలుగురు 4 డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీస్ లో మాట్లాడరు కదమ్మా. 4 విల్ యూజ్ ద సేమ్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ రేంజ్. కెన్ ఎనీవన్ టెల్ మీ వాట్ ఇస్ ద ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ రేంజ్ ఆఫ్ ఏ హ్యూమన్ వాయిస్? You can take the help of Google if you want. I just want the answer. That's what we are going to discuss. First, tell me what are the frequency range of a human voice? 512 gave the answer, but I think no one can see that answer. 120 hertz, 100 to 120 hertz, 85 to 180 hertz. I'm getting different. Guys, take the help of Google at least. But because I can't see all these wrong answers, one person only gave the right answer. Take the help of Google. Ask Google what is the frequency range of a human voice. I can only see one right answer. All the other answers are wrong. Why people are giving 100 to 120 hertz? Maybe I don't know why you are getting all these answers, whether you are depending on Google or whether you are asking question wrongly to the Google. But the right answer is, as one person said, it is 20 to 20 kilohertz. 20 to 20 hertz to 20, not 20 hertz. I think it is 200 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So whatever it is, you can say it is compared to kilohertz. These are, you can say, approximate to 0. So the frequency range that a human will speak, irrespective of who he is, where he is staying, or from which country he belongs to, a human vocal cord can only generate a frequency between 0 and 20 kilohertz. Okay, so the frequency will be limited between 0 and 20 kilohertz. Now, if you look at an FM radio, can anyone tell me what are the different FM stations that you will be hearing? Red FM, good. 93.5, good. Radio Mirchi. Radio Mirchi, I think it is the name of a program, I think. I can't remember. Okay. So one person gave me 93.5 FM because the name itself is the frequency that they are using, the actual center frequency that they are using. Can anyone tell me what is the frequency of Red FM? And what is the frequency range of this Radio Mirchi? So one is 98.5. Forget about which one it is. So one is 98.5. The other one is 93.5, 98.3 actually, 93.5. And what about the other? I think there is something 102.1 or something 101.2, something like that. Rainbow FM, whatever it is. So here, this 98.3, 93.5, and 102.1, all these things are center frequencies in the frequency range. So I said every person can only speak between, generate sounds between 0 to 20 kilohertz. That means when you are listening to a radio jockey in 98.3, the frequency range that you are actually listening is 98.3 minus 10 kilohertz to 98.3 plus 10 kilohertz. So are you people getting what I am saying? So this is the range where you are listening. If you listen to the same voice in 93.5, what you are listening is 93.5 minus 10 kilohertz to 93.5 plus 10 kilohertz. This 98.3, 93.5, they are in megahertz, remember. So from here to here, you are listening when you are listening to 93.5. When you are listening to 98.3, you are listening to 98.3 minus 10 kilohertz to 98.3 plus 10 kilohertz. So that is what is meant by modulating low frequency signals to high frequency signals. So if you are not modulating, if you send all the three radio jock signals through the same frequency in their originated frequency, it is like keeping the three people in the same room and ask them to speak. What happens then? When you put three people in the same room, three radio jockeys in the same room, if the three radio jockeys started speaking something at the same time, can you hear anyone's voice clearly? If you can hear means you are something like a superman. Okay, so you can't hear them clearly because since all those three people are generating information in the same frequency range, it is going to overlap with one another. Okay, so when three people are speaking in the same room, since all the three people are generating information at the same frequency range, they will combine with one another. So what you are hearing is a new sound in high range. Three people, let's say three people 10 decibel generate చేస్తే మీకు ఒక 30 decibel లో ఒక న్యూ సౌండ్ వినిపిస్తుందమ్మా, విచ్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ నాయిస్. యూ కాంట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ వాట్ any one of those three jockeys are saying. Okay, so to avoid that, when three devices are combined, what you are going to do is you are going to move these three devices into three different frequency ranges that we are going to see in the coming slide. Okay, so just let's finish me this particular slide. So to make sure that those signals will not interfere with one another, the sending device is going to modulate different carrier frequencies and combined into single composite signal, and the receiver is going to get that signal. And to make sure that those modulated signals are not interfering with one another, we are going to uh, provide some gap between them, so which is called as guard bands. Okay, so channels can be separated by a strip of unused bandwidth, which is called guard bands, to prevent signals from overlapping. So these things I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is what's happening on the sender side. So sender, as you can see in this particular diagram, these are the three radio jockeys which are generating in the same frequency range, 0 to 20 kilohertz. So this is also 0 to 20 kilohertz. So this is also 0 to 20 kilohertz. So just imagine. Now if you combine these three signals, so what happens is these three signals will overlap with one another. So to avoid that, so if you put them in the frequency scale, what you can see is all the three people voice are on the same frequency band. Okay, so this is 0 to 20 kilohertz. So three people's voice will overlap with one another. So to avoid that, what you are doing is you are taking the 0 to 20 and you are moving it to 93.5, and you are taking 0 to 20 and you are moving it to let's say um, so you are moving it to 98.3 and you are taking the third radio station's voice 0 to 20 and you are moving it to 102.1. So doing so, you are able to separate them. So if you look them in the frequency, previously which appeared like overlapping with one another, now is completely separated. Okay, and you are going to provide guard bands here to avoid any interference from one channel to another channel. So that the same thing, whatever I explained in frequency domain just now, if you look at the time domain, the process is like this. So here in time domain, how you can differentiate between these frequencies is, as you can see here, the frequency of this signal is less, this signal is medium, so the frequency is less, medium, high. So you are using three different frequencies. So you are modulating this signal to a new particular center frequency. The center frequency of this signal is 10 kilohertz. This is also 10 kilohertz. This is also 10 kilohertz. So from 10 kilohertz, you are moving the signal to a new frequency domains. Let's say 93.5, 98.3, 102.1, like our FM radio. So this is called modulating. So whatever has happened on the sender side must happen on the receiving side. So sender side combine చేయడానికి devices అవసరం లేదమ్మా. Those three people are going to just send the signal to the same location. They are going to combine. So these three people, the three radio stations, that is 93.5, 98.3, 102.1. These three people are going to send the signal to the same location. That is nothing but air. Okay, so the signal is going to be combined in the air. Air is going to take care of that. Now at the receiving side, you need to divide them. So in your FM radios that are there in your hand, what you are going to do is, you are going to tune from channel to channel. Yes or no? 98.3 కావాలనుకోండి, మీరు 98.3 స్టేషన్ కి ట్యూన్ చేస్తారు, అవునా కదా? So if you want 93.5, you are at 93.5, you don't like the program coming in 93.5, you need 98.3. So what you will do immediately, you will tune the frequency from 93.5 to 98.3. Yes or no? Is it right or not? That's what you are doing or not? I think most of you don't know the answer, because if I'm not wrong, you have not at all used FM radio. Okay, but try after this particular class, so at least once, okay, and observe what are the frequencies used. Okay, now, so what you are doing is nothing but changing this filter. Okay, the tuning is nothing but filtering. So you are moving, you receive all the three signals, your radio is going to receive all the three stations, but you are moving a tuner, which is nothing but a filter, a band pass filter, inka clear ga cheppali ante, from one frequency to another frequency. When you put your band pass filter in this particular range, you are going to get 93.5. So you don't like that, so you are going to move this filter here. Now you are going to listen 98.3. When you move this filter from here to here, you are going to listen 9 1 or 2.1. So same thing is happening in your TV also. Okay, so all the channels what you are getting from the cable TV or what you are getting from the dish TV are accommodated at different frequencies. Okay, so when you tune, what you can see is, can anyone, anyone saw the tuning process in your TV? Anyone observed what's happens when you tune your TV, or when you do the operation called search for channels in your setup box? What happens in the setup box? The setup box is set to receive signals from one particular frequency f1 to f2. So when you say search for channel, or when you say auto tune, what it is going to do is, it start from f1, it is going to search each and every frequency and to observe is there any channel there, and it is going to remember. When you say channel 1, channel 1 means, okay, it is frequency, let's say this is frequency 100 and you have 100 channels. So when you say channel 1, it is going to move to f1. When you say channel 2, it may move to f3 depending on your tuning. When you say channel 3, it may go to f77, channel 77. So that is how the tuning process is going to happen. So tuning means nothing but changing this filter level. Okay, so this is the demultiplexing process. So in demultiplexing, you need a device called filter to separate your your corresponding signal. Okay, so is it clear with these two things, the FDM multiplexing techniques? If it is clear, we are going to see a few problems, because you are going to even get a problem from this particular multiplexing concept. It's very important. So is it clear with FDM, frequency division multiplexing? Guys, I repeat, is it clear with frequency division multiplexing? Unless I get at least yes or no answers from you guys, I can't continue. Okay, in classes, at least I can observe from your faces whether you are able to understand or not. But in these virtual classes, we can't see your faces, so you better express. So one person asking me to repeat the concept, so I'm going to repeat just for the example. So imagine there are three radio jockeys who are speaking. So all the jockeys are going to generate signal from 0 to 20 kilohertz. So when I say signal, normally the signal will be represented with the center frequency. So the frequency of the radio jockeys is 10 kilohertz. 10 kilohertz. Now, if you send these three signals in the same manner by combining with one another, these three will be collide with one another, and what you can see is one clumsy signal in the same frequency where you can't even listen anything. So it's something like putting the three people in the same room and listening to their nuisance. So to avoid that, what we are employing is, we are employing a technique called modulation. So this modulator, a device which performs modulation. So this modulator can move low frequency signals to high frequency signals. So this 0 to 20 information will be same. Okay, information will not be lost, but we are just moving the signal. So I will choose three different frequencies which are well separated: 93.5, 98.3, 102.1. So I am going to move the first person frequency to this person, and the 10 kilohertz center frequency is going to move to 93.5 kilohertz center frequency. So now this new signal is going to be here, and I'm going to move this second signal to 98.3. So the second signal will be here, and I'm going to move the third signal here. Now these three people, even though they are sitting in the same room, their vocal cords, imagine the vocal cords are not generating in the same frequency range. So if you can tune your ears, you can listen to the particular person's voice. Okay, so that is called multiplexing. If you leave these three signals into the air, the three signals will travel parallelly. So the three signals are going to travel parallelly in the medium. Okay, that is nothing but the air. On the receiving side, the receiver is going to perform the reverse operation called demultiplexing. So what you are going to do is, you received three signals. Okay, so you received three signals. So one signal is from radio jockey 1, the other signal is from radio jockey 2, and the third signal is from radio jockey 3. So 93.5, 98.3, 91 or 2.1. So if you simply make your device listen to all the three frequencies, then there is no use of multiplexing and demultiplexing. So you need to separate them. So to separate them, what you are going to do is, you are going to use a device called filter. So filter can filter unwanted things. So the name is there in itself. So it is going to remove whatever you don't want. It is going to allow only a part of the signal. So if you put your filter to this location, you are going to listen to this particular person voice. So that is nothing but 93.5 station. If you put your filter here, you are going to hear 98.3 voice. If you put your filter here, you are going to listen this 102.1 Rainbow FM's voice. Okay, so that is what is called multiplexing and demultiplexing. Okay, so is it clear now about these two processes? Now let's see a problem, how you are going to get problems from this particular concept. So this is the question. There are 5 channels, each with a bandwidth of 100 kilohertz. So let me write. So this is bandwidth. Okay, bandwidth is 100 kilohertz. Okay, so this bandwidth, let's say channel bandwidth kabatti, let's say CBW. Since it is channel bandwidth, the channel bandwidth is 100 kilohertz and are to be multiplexed together. What is the minimum bandwidth of the link? Okay, if there is a need for guard band of 10 kilohertz. So guard band of 10 kilohertz means, so just I thought yeah. So as you can see here, the 100 kilohertz of each person, we are going to move to 5 different frequencies. This is F1, this is F2, this is F3, this is F4, this is F5. And previously I said, to make sure that one particular signal not collides with the other signal, we are going to accommodate something called guard band in between. So this is 10 kilohertz. So we have 5 signals, that is 5 into 100, and we have 4 guard bands in between. So 4 into 10. So the minimum bandwidth of the medium must be at least 540 kilohertz. Then I can accommodate this particular scenario. If it is less than 540 kilohertz, I can't accommodate. If it is more than 540 kilohertz, still I can accommodate, but some will be wasted. Okay, so can you see, can you get this particular problem now? It's a very easy question. Okay, so it's something like an objective question you may get. The next problem may be something tricky. So look at this. 4 data channels, each transmits at 1 Mbps. Okay, that means channels data rate is 1 Mbps and number of channels is 4. Okay, and the communication medium, the link bandwidth is 1 megahertz. Now they ask you to design appropriate configuration. So మీరు ఇక్కడ అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే if you look at the equation, MDR is equal to 2B log L base 2. Here B is known to us. Okay, and maximum data rate you can get for the link from this particular individual channels. Can anyone tell me what is the maximum, what is the data rate needed for the link data rate? Link data rate entamma? If channel data is 1 Mbps, if there are 4 channels, what is the link data rate? Composite signal data rate? So channel data rate is 1 Mbps, number of channel are 4, then what is the link data rate? What is 4? 4? Yeah, 4 Mbps. Now, what is the link bandwidth? What is link bandwidth? That is there in the question itself. One, don't use small letters. When you look at here clearly, M must be capital, H must be capital, H must be, Z must be small. Okay, so LBW is 1 megahertz, that is 1 into 10 power 6 hertz. Okay, and 4 Mbps means 4 into 10 power 6 bits per second. I think 2 people have queries. 545, you have any doubt? Okay. So 4 into 10 power 6 bits per second. Now can anyone tell me what is the L value now? So finding out that L value is nothing but designing the appropriate configuration. That is the only parameter that we don't know. So can anyone tell me what is the value of L? Okay, so 4 Mbps is equal to 2 into 1 into 10 power 6 into log L base 2. Now can anyone tell me what is L value? So log L base 2 is equal to 4 into 10 power 6 by 2 into 10 power 6. So these two will be get cancelled. So 4 to 2. So log L base 2 is equal to 2. So what is L? 2 power 2 equal to 4. So can you see how the question is solved here? So when they ask you to design an appropriate configuration, you need to give this particular answer. So the 4 people can communicate in 1 Mbps data rate, okay, by using a signal with 4 levels. So అదే క్వశ్చన్ రివర్స్ లో సాల్వ్ చేస్తే ఇలాగ వస్తుంది. 1 megahertz ni 4 people ki bandwidth reverse. I have solved it. Let me show you once again. So channel data rate is equal to 1 Mbps. So links data rate is 4 Mbps. Links bandwidth is 1 megahertz. So I ask you to find out links L value. Links L value or channel L value both is same. So what I show here is, since LBW is 1 megahertz, CBW is going to be 1 by 4 megahertz. That is nothing but 250 kilohertz. Okay, and CDR is given by 1 Mbps. So if you substitute them in this particular equation also, you will get the same L value. So there are two ways to solve this particular question. Okay, so but you need to first get the properties with respect to either channel or link, then you can solve them by substituting in this particular equation. You can make this question more complex by adding things like noise, etc. Okay, but for now it's very rare to get such questions. So the maximum question you can get from this particular concept is this one. So here you will get L equal to 4. Okay, so is it clear with these two things? Is it clear with these problems? I want at least 5+ people respond so that I can proceed. Okay, so since I'm almost it is 1, so I'm going to finish with wavelength division multiplexing. So time division multiplexing will not be there in today's class. I'm going to explain time division multiplexing tomorrow. Just listen, guys. So no quiz today, so you can neglect that quiz today. I'm going to change the timing to the next class. Okay, so once I finish the time division multiplexing, it is a very lengthy concept. So once I done with time division multiplexing, you will have a quiz on all these multiplexing concepts. Okay, so let's finish the wavelength division multiplexing. So before explaining wavelength division multiplexing, I want you to recollect wavelength is just inverse of frequency. So whether you do FDM or WDM, both are theoretically same. సో మీరు మీడియంని ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూలో డివైడ్ చేస్తున్నామని చెప్పినా, లేకపోతే వేవ్ లెంత్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యూలో డివైడ్ చేస్తున్నామని చెప్పినా సేమ్ అమ్మ. ఓకే, వెన్ ఐ సే ఐఎమ్ యూజింగ్ వేవ్ లెంత్ డివిజన్ మల్టీప్లెక్సింగ్ విత్ W λ1 λ2 λ3, it is nothing but F1 F2 F3 because these 3 wavelengths represent 3 frequencies. Okay, is it clear with this particular point? So wavelength division multiplexing theoretically same as frequency division multiplexing. Okay, but the difference is where you are applying this concept. Okay, so they are used in fiber optics where you are working on light signals, wherein light, even though light is also in the same frequency spectrum, when you talk about light, you won't be talking about frequencies, you will be talking about wavelengths. That is the reason, since this frequency division multiplexing used in light waves in fiber optic cables, instead of calling it frequency division multiplexing, they are calling it as wavelength division multiplexing. That's it. The concept is almost same. Okay, so in wavelength division multiplexing, conceptually same as frequency division multiplexing, except that the multiplexing and demultiplexing involves optical signals transmitted through fiber optic cables. Previously, it involves electrical or electromagnetic signals transmitted through copper cables and air. Now we are talking about optical waves transmitted in fiber optic channels. Okay, so the idea is same. We are combining different signals of different frequencies where we are not talking about frequencies, we are talking about wavelengths, because the frequencies are very high. So we are concentrating on the inverse of that very high value, that is very low wavelengths. Okay, so that is about the wavelength division multiplexing background. Now, how we are going to provide wavelength division multiplexing is here. You can't simply send signals into air, like as I said in frequency division multiplexing. On the sender side and the receiving side, you need devices. So on the sender side, you need a multiplexer. So the simplest multiplexer for wavelength division multiplexing is a prism. A prism can combine multiple wavelengths into single light beam, and it can separate single light beam into multiple wavelengths. So it can combine WebGR into white light. It can separate a white light into WebGR. Yes or no? Avuna kada? There is one interesting experiment that people used to be doing in physics lab. Okay, I don't know whether you people are having physics lab or not in the first year, in that if you perform this particular experiment or not, but that's what happens in prism. We are in our experiments, we normally concentrate on this part, but because this part implementation is very difficult. Okay, so a prism can separate a white light into multiple wavelengths, that is nothing but WebGR. Now, instead of white light, instead of WebGR, what you are going to do is you are going to take three wavelengths, you are going to impose those three wavelengths in a clearly calculated imposing angle, so that those three will combine on the outer side of this multiplexer and comes as a single light, and that goes through the fiber optic cable. On the receiving side, another prism will simply separate these light waves. So that is called wavelength division multiplexing. So that's that much easy. So these two slides are enough. So in this particular class, I have discussed about frequency division multiplexing and wavelength division multiplexing. In the next class, I'm going to talk about time division multiplexing. Okay, so the time division multiplexing is something like this. So previously, as I said, the vehicle width is same as the road, but the vehicle length is limited. So ఎప్పుడైతే vehicle length తక్కువ ఉంది, అందరూ మీన్ సేమ్ టైంలో జనరేట్ చేయట్లేదు, చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు అనుకున్నాం, దెన్ ఇన్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ కేస్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు యూస్ టైం టు షేర్ ద మీడియం. సో ఫస్ట్ పర్సన్ 1 పంపిస్తాం, నెక్స్ట్ 2 పంపిస్తాం, తర్వాత 3 నుంచి వచ్చేది పంపిస్తాం, తర్వాత 4 నుంచి వచ్చేది పంపిస్తాం, నెక్స్ట్ అగైన్ 1 2 3 4, అగైన్ 1 2 3 4. So with respect to time, we are going to share, but it is not just that much simple. There are so many factors involved in time division multiplexing. So we are going to discuss about time division multiplexing in the coming class. Then you can attempt the quiz. Okay, so if you have no doubts, you can leave the session, but if you have any doubts, you can stay and you can ask.